China is still one of Russia's biggest trading partners. What does this mean for relations between the U.S. and China? Our guest today, an expert in this subject matter, shares his insight. Joining me now is Keith Krach. He is the chairman of the Krach Institute for Tech Diplomacy. He's also a nominee for the Nobel Prize and the former Undersecretary of State for former President Donald Trump. Thanks so much for being with us.
Andy, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
So let's talk China here. They're Russia's biggest ally and their biggest economic partner right now. That puts us in a very strange place given our relationship with them, as well as the role they play in our tech. So what does this mean for us moving forward as this conflict continues?
Well, you look at China and Russia as the totalitarian twins. They signed a love letter February 5th, pledging allegiance to each other, with Russia recognizing Taiwan as a part of China, and of course, China recognizing the Ukraine. So what that means to us is that the potential conflict between China and Taiwan has gone up. And Taiwan is a role model of freedom and a linchpin of democracy to the free world. To General Secretary Xi, Taiwan represents dispelling that his myth about the Chinese culture being able to live under a democracy. He instead says it must live under a dictatorship or an autocracy. And he wants Taiwan gone. For the business community, a conflict between Taiwan and China would be disastrous, be catastrophic, because their economy's 10 times the size of Russia's.
Do we see that happening in the near future?
Well, I think the probability has gone up, and it certainly is a probability because China has never dispelled that. I was the highest ranking State Department official to go to Taiwan in 41 years. I was greeted with 40 fighters and bombers. They since have amped that up. This is one of the reasons, Andy, why, some of the most well-respected corporate board members are requesting a China contingency plan from their CEOs because they don't want to get caught off guard, like what happened with Russia, where over 300 really prominent corporations pulled out instantly. And they're demanding those contingency plans because, speed is of the essence. And if something like that happens, and you haven't done anything, it's going to be too late. The other thing is Xi's crackdown on that business community. So we see that happening on corporate boards in the U.S. and actually also in Europe, too.
Let's talk about this nuclear threat. Officials of the United States very concerned that Vladimir Putin has not toned down that rhetoric, but we haven't seen that kind of condemnation of that rhetoric coming from China. How concerned are you?
Well, I think whenever you talk about nuclear weapons or nuclear war, you have to be concerned about that. The fact of the matter is Putin and now soon Xi will be dictators for life. And once these guys, stop, and they're not going to stop, we've seen nothing but both of them amped up their aggression. They're in trouble. So they use this as a deterrent. And we've got to make sure that we've got our plans in place to be able to deal with that.
Okay, Keith Krach, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, Andy.